Hello happy souls, welcome back to my channel. This is Charlotte with Happy Twins 1111. My goodness, it's been such a long time since I used that introduction. I have been away from YouTube for some months and it's been an interesting time for me. I've just been navigating my own healing path and working on myself, and I haven't felt guided to be here on YouTube, but I have been so grateful and so heartwarmed by the continued support from this community, and it really is exciting to be back today. So thank you so much for being here with me. It's such a pleasure always to share these readings with you. I learn so much for myself. I think it's really important to remember that I'm just a channel. This wisdom comes through me and not from me, and these messages are as much for me as they are for you, and it's so beautiful to have this space in which to share those messages for all of us. So thank you for being here. But let's get to this. I've got a new topic for you today. I'm so excited to share a new reading with you. It's not a love reading. I know that's usually my general topic, but I think this community has been ready for something different and something more expansive and productive for a while. So please let me know in the comments what you think of this and if you like more of the same. Today's topic is, what is your true path? What's meant for you? Where are you meant to be moving towards? And we're going to look at what's waiting to literally manifest for you. What do you need to know about that? And what are the blockages that are inhibiting you from moving in that direction? And of course, we will get guidance for how you can move forward and reach your fullest potential. So I've got 3 paths for you to choose from. We're going to use the tarot today. We're going to use the oracle cards, and of course we'll get some message cards as well, and definitely some charms. Take your time choosing a pile. Remember, there's no right or wrong way. Just see what you're drawn to, and pause the video if you'd like. Take a deep breath and think about it. But in pile number 1, we've got Mary J. Blige with the Rhodonite heart, and for that pile, I will be using the lovely Omens tarot. For pile number 2, we've got Mariah Carey with this piece of Amazonite, and for that pile, I will be using the Starchild tarot. And then for pile number 3, we've got 2-pack with that ametrine point, and for that pile, I will be using the Hyde tarot. Now you can find the timestamps for each pile that will take you straight to your reading in the description box below, and they're also pinned in the comments, and I will see you there. Hello part 1, welcome to your reading. You have chosen Mary J. Blige, the Rhodonite stone, and the lovely Omens tarot. And today we are asking, what is your true path? What is your true calling? Part 1. This reading is all about unlocking your fullest potential and finding some optimism and hope in your current situation, helping you move towards your true path. We're asking the cards, what's trying to manifest into your reality right now, and is there anything blocking that you need to be aware of, and how can you move towards your true path? What guidance do you need to help get you there? So let's see what comes through for you. I'm going to move Mary J. Blige over here in a minute. We're going to read that card in a second. Let's draw some cards as well so we can get started. And whilst I'm shuffling, it's a really good time for you to think of a sign, to ask the universe for a sign or two. Remember, it can be anything at all, something from nature, a creature, an object, a symbol, a phrase, a number, a name, anything, God, goddess or deity, whatever works for you. There's no right or wrong. And you may find that your sign doesn't just pop up within this reading, but it will pop up in other areas of your life as well. So pay attention, figure out what that sign symbolizes to you, and you can look online as well to find deeper meaning in it. But what's going on in your present that can help give context to this reading? That's what I'm asking the cards first. Okay, we've got the Knight of Pentacles in reverse. The 7 of Wands in reverse. The Queen of Cups in reverse. The Ace of Wands. The 5 of Pentacles. The Queen of Swords in reverse. And what's your true path, your true calling? I'm going to use the Sacred Destiny Oracle. All the decks I use are listed in the description box below. Going forward. Stand still. What a contradiction. And from the Elemental Oracle. We've got oceans, passion, and let's go with the animals next. Your true calling. Horse. And what's waiting to manifest? This is a Moonology Oracle. Prosperity lies ahead. New moon in Taurus. Don't let pride get in your way. Full moon in Leo. A new start is coming. New moon. And luck is on your side. New moon in Sagittarius. We're going to get a couple of these message cards as well. These are messages from Spirit. They're just blanks, which I've written on myself. Be clear about your intentions. Reparent the inner child. And healing is messy. We're going to start with Mary J. Blige, because this is a strength card, which in the Major Arcana also represents Leo. And Leo is all about pride and strength and courage. I wrote about the strength card on my community page recently. It's worth scrolling down and finding that post. I'm pretty sure this also came up in my last reading, but certainly in the context of this reading, pride is a huge factor in what's occurring between you and your true calling. It does feel like you woke up a long time ago. You know, you are not new to the ascension process. You've been navigating this journey for some time. And this is the energy of kind of having been really safe in your boat. You've figured out how to balance yourself in this new, more conscious state of being, this new awareness. And in recent times, there's been a tremendous shift. And the fact that this has come through also is strength in the lion. And certainly at the time of upload, we're, in the middle of the Lionsgate portal, which are very intense energies, the energies of really peeling back the layers, really discovering who you are. And so we see in your present here right now, feeling like all of your barriers are down, your awareness is probably heightened to quite an uncomfortable degree. And, awakened people or spiritual people often don't discuss very freely the difficulties and the challenges that actually come with being aware. And I think certainly at the time of the Lionsgate portal, but of course this can happen as we ride the waves of healing throughout our journeys. When we have more awareness, that can also sometimes be very painful and very uncomfortable. Again, that old statement, ignorance is bliss. Sometimes knowing can be very hard. And it does feel like you have felt very alienated in your recent growth spurt, and it has been a growth spurt. It definitely feels like the barriers are down. And when I say that, this is the energy of someone who's always been able to hold space for themselves, or at least for some time, and has found that balance and harmony within themselves. And all of a sudden it feels like it was shattered. You're no longer rowing a little boat in the ocean, you're swimming. It's all of the skills and techniques you used to stay afloat in the storm that served you when you were in a vessel are no longer there. It feels like you've kind of been lost at sea and you're swimming for your life. These are very deep emotions that you're facing, and you're facing them from a very unified perspective, and that's to say in a very solitary and profoundly hermity way. You know, this is really you being very detached from the world and feeling quite emotionally unstable in the face of other people's energy, whereas previously you've been able to hold yourself and create space for yourself and to be able to coexist fairly peacefully. Now you find yourself knocked off center by even the smallest of interactions. Even though you're aware this is a new beginning, these are ascension symptoms, that this state of being horribly uncomfortable will pass, it doesn't make it, pardon me, any the less easier for you to navigate. Sometimes it's small comfort to know that we will get us through something, but we still have to bear the burden of actually making it through the storm. And it feels like that's where you are at the moment. It feels like you're revisiting a lot of old wounds surrounding rejection and abandonment, and you really thought you had healed and conquered these wounds within you. It's almost like they've now kind of bubbled to the surface again, and you can once more feel them ache and sting in a way that is difficult to ignore. This has definitely brought out a lot of ugly feeling in you, and so you've definitely been beating yourself up because you're so unaccustomed to actually feeling this much poison in you. Of course, when everything is wobbled up and these old wounds are poked and prodded, it brings up such uncomfortable feelings. Often they're, resentment, bitterness, hatefulness, irritability, all of this ugly kind of fuming energy that exists within us in our shadow aspect. When it's ready for release, it comes up to the surface and it feels like it's choking you. It really is quite hard. And of course, with the Queen of Swords in reverse, that's the inability to be able to communicate what you're experiencing, feeling like nobody can understand you. Nobody would even comprehend what you're going through, and perhaps you can't even find the words to articulate it yourself. So there's a lot of very frustrated energy in your present. And the first message for you is to trust that this is okay. Even though, you're lost at sea. I've only just noticed this card right here in the middle. Look at that, bravery and oceans. This is number 30. 30 is the number of abundance and manifestation. It's the number of creation. And we see here this person trying to balance themselves in the waters. Their world has literally been turned upside down. You see how many blocked energies here, how many things that were previously stable and in place. It's like having the rug pulled from under your feet. So you mustn't beat yourself up for wobbling in this period. It's absolutely normal. The more aware and conscious you are, the more you're going to feel, the more sensitive you're going to be to these profound energetic waves and shifts that come through, and the more alone you are, because as you step forward into consciousness, you are moving towards that unity with self, learning to balance the world beneath your own feet. Bravely setting out there on this journey to support self, to recognize that you are all you need. But there's no shame in falling and needing someone else. And, even though in this moment it feels like you're standing still, that's an illusion. You are always moving forward. Right now, so much is manifesting into your reality that you cannot see, feel, or touch. We have passion here in horse. The horse is a beautiful symbol of freedom, absolute freedom. It carries the energy of integrity, power, and force. And we see the soul here with this number 14 card titled Passion. Now, number 14, of course, reduces to 5, the energy of the Hierophant. It's all about higher learning, ascension. And 5 is also that midway point. Up until 5 is the hardest battle fought. Once you're on the other side of that 5, everything moves more smoothly. And this is what you need to understand right now about your life. It may feel chaotic, but this state is temporary. You've been through it before. You may have felt this in the very, very early days of your awakening or ascension process. There's a rattling, uncomfortable feeling beneath the surface that you're maybe crazy, that you're mad, that you've lost your mind, that the deeper you go into your own consciousness and awareness, the more you see, the more painful it is to look out on a world that doesn't see what you see. It is brave. It's brave to continue on that path, and it's not easy. And I feel like today you just needed to be understood. You are going to be okay. And even though intellectually you know that, when your heart is kind of smashed into a million pieces and you're trying to pull it all back together into balance, and when I say your heart, I'm referring to a heart chakra in this instance. It feels like the heart chakra energy has suddenly become scattered. Where there was once balance and harmony and everything was comfortable, now it's just in pieces and you're trying to put it back together, trying to balance yourself emotionally once more to bring yourself back into that mature and more objective emotional energy. You know how to be there, and therefore you know how to return there, because you still know what that tastes like, and you have a high energy and skill when it comes to vibration and discernment. So you've just got to trust that even though it feels like you've fallen off the wagon in a really I want to say embarrassing fashion, it feels like you're cringing at your own shortcomings right now. You're being asked to forgive yourself and recognize this is simply part of the process. You have to plunge back into the depths from this new perspective and revisit those wounds again. This is an essential part of your ascension and understanding of self, which further expands your self-awareness. Financially, everything's going to be okay, and whatever wound is niggling beneath the surface that refers to financial instability, you need to use the techniques you're already familiar with to help nip that in the bud. If one thing you have mastered, it does seem to be your train of thought, and you are aware that this kind of wobbly place is a slippery slope, because once you give airtime to those negative, ruminating, fearful, hateful thoughts, you recognize that your vibration begins to rapidly slide down into a pit. And so that awareness is what always allows you to pull yourself back through. But you do have to allow yourself to hit that rock bottom, to revisit that place of vulnerability, to remember that you are never infallible, that there's always more to learn. This is a humbling but necessary experience, and frankly, Spirit is saying you got too comfortable. You know, you have to keep going and keep growing. And right now, this is all about self-mastery. It's about mastering your emotions again from this place of new awareness, trusting that the divine plan will continue to unfold as it is meant to for you, and that, you know, you've got prosperity lies ahead. This is what's manifesting for you. You know, your goal, your true calling is freedom. It's to move forward when you need to and stand still when you need to, and to bravely continue navigating these oceans. The oceans of your own consciousness, the passion of the soul, you know, that freedom of your mind, that no matter your circumstances, no one can take from you what's inside. That's always been your power. You've just momentarily forgotten it because the energies have been so intense, Lionsgate or otherwise, they have literally, you know, pummeled you. It feels like you've been pummeled by these energies, forced to revisit such unpleasant memories, situations, experiences, wounds, you know. And again, the one that comes through strong is the lion energy, the pride. It's also connected, of course, to bravery. But I wrote about the lion on my community page. If you want to scroll back and find that, it's well worth it. The lion in the strength card is such a significant symbol because it connects to the energy of divinity as much as it does our bestiality. You know, bestiality is probably the wrong word. I'm not going there. Our beastliness, should I say. Oh dear. Okay, let me just pull that back a second. So, you know, our beastly nature, our animal nature is what it's about. And in the traditional tarot, we see a lady prizing open the mouth of a lion, not with force, but with the presence of her own divine soul. When we stand in love and compassion, which is the true nature and true power of the lion's heart, even in his animal form, you know, the beast becomes vulnerable and willing and surrendering in our presence. And so this is a really powerful reminder that we can't fight hate with hate. This hate that you're feeling in you now needs to be purged from you. You're aware that all of this ego and pride that's beating you up left, right, and center is not the truth of who you are. But you do need to face it and let it go. Don't let pride get in your way of facing your own shadow. Part of the reason you're furious right now is because you've fallen off the wagon at all, and you're really kicking the living shit out of yourself for having stumbled. You know, you can't get back up and find that balance again whilst you're behaving in this way towards yourself. Again, you know, right now, so much, this is a full moon in Leo. This is an opportunity for power. It's an opportunity to embrace that new beginning, and luck is on your side. You've got three new moons here. Prosperity lies ahead. A new start is coming. Luck is on your side. Now is the time to reclaim your balance, to reclaim your power, to remember who you are, to be clear about your intentions, because you are a powerful manifester. You know, where your intention goes, that's where energy flows. You know this about yourself. You understand the law of attraction. Healing is messy. It doesn't matter how grown or how ascended you are. No one is so progressively formed in light that they become immune to the human condition of suffering. Give yourself a break. Allow yourself to collapse. Reparent the inner child and step back into the strength you already have. You know, you are an explorer of the universe. You're a spiritual seeker. You're a light worker. You're a healer. Whatever way you communicate this light in your world, it might not even be through a holistic practice. It could be from working in a school, from shining your light in a dull and oppressive office space. It could be anywhere. You know, a light worker doesn't mean reading cards or playing with crystals. It means emitting light wherever you stand in the world. This is your true calling. This is why you have such an overwhelming desire to explore everything, you know, magic and wonderful. It's always been your soul's passion, because you're aware that that growth, that betterment of self, that focus on your own evolution is what helps make the world a better place, one person at a time. You know, you've been focusing on yourself, and you need to keep focusing on yourself. You know, don't forget that the journey inwards is a gift to humanity. You don't just have to be out in the world. They're actually doing and giving in literal ways. Just by being you, you are a gift. You are a gift of light. Don't lose focus of the freedom to revel in that light, to stand in that strength, to use that power that you've been gifted with. Be clear about your intentions. All the energies are aligned right now for you to get exactly what you want. They're all there, ready to catch you, ready to propel you forward, but you have to lean into them. You have to stand still long enough to recognize their presence and their power, to realign yourself with that truth. And then, like the horse, you can run free. You can run forward. Let's see what's blocking you. What's standing in your path that you're not seeing? I'm going to use the Iris Oracle. Suppression of a star being by hands unworthy. Interesting. Broken and hatched. Your light. And scry mirror. Wow. One more. Dream travel. Okay, this is actually really practical. It's really practical. Magical guidance that's coming through for you right now. One of your greatest vulnerabilities right now as an ascending human being, as an ascending person, is with this barrier having come down and your awareness expanded, you've become more vulnerable to the energy of others. We spoke earlier about holding space, and this means you have to be a lot more discerning about where you spend your time. Suppression of a star being by hands unworthy. You know, this is about putting yourself in situations that do not serve your highest good. In and of themselves, that is an act of self-betrayal. You know what your energy needs to be full, to recuperate, to be strong, to be present. And when you put others' needs before your own once more, when you eliminate your own boundaries and, you know, start giving in to the obligations of your external world in an imbalanced way, you know, this is when you become broken. Your light is always enough to clear this energy from your life. You just have to apply it. They're saying, look in the mirror here for the answers. You know, you've got this scry mirror energy, which is a very triggered energy on the left here. The energy of the solar plexus, which can, you know, bring to our attention our own truth, our own ego, our perception of self. And our truth in any given moment isn't really the truth. The truth is constantly evolving as we get to know who we are. Acknowledging who we are, you know, is part of the process of evolution. And at every step, there's something new to acknowledge. We never really know who we are. So the truth is constant, transient. It's moving with you. It's not the case that you were lying to yourself. It's just the case that you are rediscovering parts of yourself that you'd forgotten or didn't know were there. You need to keep looking in the mirror. You're very powerful when it comes to journeying. So you have the ability to sit in light trance or meditation and to take yourself places. That's a very shamanic practice, but it's also the practice of many yogis, you know, people that practice meditation. It doesn't have to fall under a specific label. For you, it may just mean daydreaming or imagining. But that process, that visual, all-encompassing process of feeling with all of your senses, these inner journeys, it, when applied appropriately and with intention, is very, very powerful. Again, you're being guided back to your own light. And this is a number 51 card, which reduces to 6, the energy of unconditional love. 5, again, is higher learning. 1 is all about unity and unity. So this is all about coming back to yourself again and again. And this time it feels painful. This time you're so angry that you're still feeling this energy of longing, this energy of needing, this energy of wanting someone else to row the boat for you. It's crept up on you, you know, and you've not felt it for a long time and it bites. But you've got to let go, you know, the self-punishment. You know, you mustn't keep beating yourself up for finding yourself back there. That is the biggest hurdle right now, because as you start to beat yourself up, you know, your sense of self-worth diminishes and you start letting go of your boundaries. You start, you know, slipping into old habits again, is what we're hearing. So how can you clear the way forward? Let's get some animal energies through for you. We've got lamb. We've got rabbit, and we've got oyster. And from the personal power deck, I embrace change. So change has been a strong message for you in this reading, pile 1. I am divinely guided. Beautiful. And I am a healer. Wow. You've always been divinely guided. You're being asked to remember all the times you landed on your feet, that you had a quiet voice in your mind that always whispered it will be okay, even at the worst times. You always had faith that as someone with a pure heart, you would be okay. And even though you've had to really weather some horrible storms, you are okay. You've come through it with a pure heart intact. We've got this gentle lamb and rabbit energy here. You know, allow yourself to be even more vulnerable than you are already. You know, your beautiful, pure heart has required you to step into a very strong, masculine and assertive role. You know, you've had to be strong. You've had to be alpha. You've had to hold it together. And, you know, when you sit in that energy and you're trying to protect yourself, it's, you know, it's born purely of self-protection. self-love and self-protection, but that masculine energy is so fierce. I really think that bringing that back into balance is part of the battle won here for you, to allow yourself to surrender into this divinely feminine, soft, gentle and receptive energy. That's what allows your intentions to connect with the point of creation. That's when you manifest abundance and the treasure of the oyster is revealed. At the moment, it feels like it's hidden from you, but it's only hidden from your own. It's hidden from you because you don't believe yourself to have the power to do it. And the light is saying that's nonsensical, because you've always had the power, and you know that you've always had the power. This isn't about discovering your true power. This is about reconnecting with your true power. This is about getting back on the horse after a fall and riding forward anyway. You know, I embrace change. Again, change has been a constant in this reading for you. Change is about your evolution, and growing pains are uncomfortable, but this is all divinely guided. This is all part of your learning as a healer, as a light worker. How can you help people with their pain if you don't understand pain? And believe me, you are not the only light worker that's thrown their hands in the air and said, I didn't choose this. You're really not the only one. But actually, I think when you're calm enough to reflect back, you really wouldn't have it any different. There are so many things in your life right now that you adore and sit in gratitude for that wouldn't have happened or wouldn't exist if you hadn't have grown the way you have. And who you are now has led up. You know, everything has led up to that person, to this moment. None of it was in vain. It's always been divinely guided, even when it felt unimaginably inhumane to put a person through so much stress. But you can't deny the pride you feel in having elevated yourself above it, and that is worth its weight in gold. It's worth so much. That voice of reason is what heals others. That ability to say, I've been there, I know that dark space, and now I'm here. That's what makes you able to do the work that you're meant to do, to shine the light that you're meant to shine. Our ability to suffer is in direct proportion to our ability to experience joy. You know, the further we go into the pits of the dark, the further we're able to expand into the light. And so this process of purging and revisiting wounds and falling off the horse and being battered and bruised and, you know, then rolling backwards into old patterns and cycles, it's all part of a beautiful process. You already understand the energy of surrender and acceptance, so just lean into it some more. You know, you're genuinely ready to move to the next level, and you're being asked to remember that this uncomfortable point that you're at now, this horrible limbo state where you don't know where you're meant to be going, what you're meant to be doing, how you're meant to be feeling, all of the old skills and tools and advice that work for you seem to have fallen away, and you may feel very, very alone. But that's because you need to be alone right now. That's where your strength is, and that's where your resurrection is. That's how you rise even further. And it's not about becoming an island and separating yourself from others. It's about recognizing that you can still stand aligned and be united with it all at once. You know, at the moment, it's unbearable for you to be in the present, because no one seems to understand what you're going through. But in that is another illusion. It's still more duality, that perspective of being separate. That feeling of being alone and alienated is nothing to do with love and consciousness, and everything to do with the ego clinging to the old program, the old paradigm of, you know, wanting to be rescued, that wound of rejection that's still in us, that we're still working at, still trying to rewire and reprogram. It still bites, but you're ready to move beyond it now. You're going to move through this period really quickly. Let's get some final guidance cards and charms to you before we move this to extended. Okay, what are these? Animals and solidity, companionship. Okay, I'm going to get some more animals. I just want to bring to the front the ones that came through already, because I think with the dream travel and the shamanic energies that have come through for you, Par 1, I do think animals are a significant part of your healing process. Let's get another one of these. Adventure, south. So south node is what I'm hearing. We'll talk about that in a minute. Starseed cards, observation, vibration, inner worlds, and signs. Okay, and from the charms, oh, okay, we dropped one. Okay, so that's a crucifix. That's just the back of one. We've got crucifix, third eye, the You're a Loser iPod, the dark and light counterparts, and black like my heart. Okay, so I'm getting faith straight away. It's about faith, loss of faith. And from the tarot coins, we've got the Three of Swords, the King of Cups, and the Emperor. And I feel guided to get some crystal cards to you as well. What crystals do you need to work with? Bumblebee Jasper. I'll bring that up close to the screen so you can pause and read it in your own time. And one more. Blue Aragonite. Same again. Pause and read at leisure. So, definitely the ups and downs that you've been experiencing emotionally and the rejection wounds that you've been facing are connected to probably a divine counterpart, as much as it's facing your own shadow aspects in the mirror. I do get the distinct impression, especially with this hateful outburst, that there is someone connected to this situation that's really triggering you, and it's brought up a lot of really uncomfortable feelings. It's really shattered your faith. It's really caused you to question what you thought you knew. And we have the Three of Swords here. You know, that is such a painful energy. That is all that rejection energy, that horrible, torturous, uncomfortable emotion that we feel when that rejection and abandonment wound is triggered. You've got King of Cups energy here as well, which is Scorpio. You know, Scorpio is the resurrection. It is the rising of the phoenix from the ashes. And it's also a sign that feels everything profoundly, so deeply, so painfully aware of all of the emotions, and then the energy of the Emperor trying to bring that back into control. Again, that masculine energy wrestling to be in control, but this is the masculine energy in you. Your counterpart is simply mirroring it back at you, this need to control the situation, to get what you want, to be right, you know, to have your needs met. It's a constant battle. We've got solidity in a core. And you see here these two counterparts sharing this peaceful mind and energy. This is number 18. It's connected to the energy of the moon. Again, the energy of faith and fear. In the energy of the moon, we see a path that's only lit by the dim light of the moon. You can't really see what's beyond it because the moon's light isn't that expansive. And so it's all about faith, because despite our fear of the dark, it requires us to step forward and trust in the moon's light. And the moon is symbolic of our intuition. You know, this is all about trusting what you know at your core, trusting all of the spiritual concepts and understandings and beliefs and values that you've already learned and integrated. This is about going back to basics in your inner worlds. Definitely there's a strong strong push towards shamanic energies here, and in particular the companionship of the animal world, if not in the literal. Seek animals out. You know, when you start working with nature from your inner core, when you start journeying into those inner worlds and connecting with animals in those dimensions, you receive from them all of the wisdom, power and guidance that they carry, all of the comfort, the peace and the love that they are able to offer, the stories that they're able to tell you to help clarify and shine a light on the path forward. You're definitely being guided within, back to that inner journey work. It says here, your external world is a reflection of your inner world. Be clear about what your visioning and intentions are. The world that wanted to come through them was Vision Quest, which again is an indigenous shamanic practice of going into your inner world to get answers, to seek answers, and to find out the truth of who you are. So this is all guiding you back inwards. The South Node is all about our past and where we have been. So this is asking you to willingly adventure and journey into the old trauma, even if you think you've already got it covered. You're going to be surprised at how differently you perceive those situations and experiences now that your mind is expanding and you are growing into this new state of being. Your vibration is being raised to higher levels. You are connected to cosmic intelligence. Remember, we've had that starseed thing. You've known that you're going to be okay. You've always had this faith, this knowing, this understanding in you. You can restore that vibration, that strength and power at any time. Remember who you are. The universe has been gently nudging you forward by revealing to you signs and synchronicities. They're in this reading, they're outside of this reading. Pay attention to all of those kind of lifelines that the universe throws you to help you anchor yourself back in faith. You definitely need to stop spitting venom. There's been in your fury and all of this unbalance, you've said some very mean or hateful things, probably to your counterpart. I'm coming back to the I'm a loser iPod. And so, you know, you're guided back to your own purity, to heal that and forgive that part of yourself that lost control, to remember that you can rein it back in, that you are the driving force in your life, to remember your power to unlock all the treasure that is available to you. And even Bumblebee Jasper, willpower, new ideas, and with blue aragonite is compassion and communication. You know, that yellow and blue, which appeared here as well in the scry mirror, the energy of seeing the truth of ourselves, the truth of who we are. You already know who you are. It's almost like you've been looking for a way out. I don't want to be this spiritual person. This is way too much work. And I feel you. I know it feels like it's such a lot of work, but again, you're guided back to that message. Really, you wouldn't have it any other way. To have it any other way would be to undo all of the beauty and the magic that you've experienced on this journey as well. And you're definitely at a stage where you can appreciate how worthwhile it has been. You just forget that when you're writhing in the dark and feeling all of that horrible imbalanced energy again, and that's natural. You know, this is when you need people that do understand to bring that message of faith again, to remind you that you're going to be stable again, you're going to find your footing and it's going to be okay, that this is just a stage, a shift, an uncomfortable part of your evolution, and that you're going to get through it. It's going to be all right, pile one. I'm sending you so much love and so much light. I really, really hope you enjoyed this reading. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget that my Reiki 2 class is happening this weekend. Reiki 1 isn't until September, but if you are interested in learning Reiki as a modality, you can find out about the Reiki classes in the description box below. There's a link down there. But thank you so much for being here today. If you did resonate with this reading, the link to the extended version is in the description box below. But I will see you next time. Thank you for your likes, your beautiful comments, and thank you to so many of you that do actually take the time to exchange energy with me by clicking on those adverts or watching them. It's such a tremendous support to my channel, and I appreciate your time so, so very much. Thank you for being here for me and with me. I'm sending you lots of love, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Hello, Pile 2. Welcome to your reading. You have chosen the Starchild Tarot and Mariah Carey with the piece of Amazonite. So I'm going to pop that over there while we shuffle. And today we are asking, what is your true calling? How can you reach your fullest potential? How can you unlock all of your true potential. We're going to look at what's waiting to manifest right now into your life and how to make that happen. We're looking at what's actually blocking you or standing in the way of your true path, and how can you clear that to find your way to where you're meant to be. So let's see what comes through for you now. Now is a really good time to just take a really nice long deep breath, just in through your nose, roughly for the count of 3, filling up your tummy like a balloon, and then all the way out through your mouth, exhaling to the very tips of your toes. Just breathe that way 5 times, really focusing on your breath. And dropping down into your heart space, finding that center point of balance within yourself. Just breathe rhythmically as is comfortable until you reach that point of balance. Such a simple process to relax yourself. And when you feel still, just set the intention that you're ready and willing to receive the messages that you need the most today around your truest calling and potential and path. And you can also ask Spirit for a sign. And a sign can be anything at all, an object or a symbol, an animal, a place or a name or a phrase, a god, goddess or deity, whatever works for you, something from nature or a creature. And a sign might not just appear in the reading. You know, Spirit will always communicate with you in the most direct way possible. And signs and symbols and bringing these images into your reality is one way that they help you anchor faith. You know, that the universe has your back and is always there for you. So let's see what comes through for you today. We're going to be using the Oracle cards, of course. Lots of charms and tarot coins as well. I've got a beautiful crystal grid for you today. I don't normally do them this big, and it just feels so lovely to have so many at once. Okay, so we've given those a good shuffle. We're going to start by asking about your present, what's actually happening right now around your present. We're going to look as well at what's waiting to manifest and what your true path is. So let's start with your present. We've got the Chariot in reverse, the Ace of Swords in reverse, the Six of Swords in reverse, the Four of Cups, and the Empress. I'm going to squeeze one more in there. I feel like we need one more. The Ten of Swords in reverse. I get such a heavy energy for your present pile too. God bless you. It does feel like you're very stuck right now. We're going to draw the rest of the cards. What is your true path? I'm going to start with 2 Sacred Destiny cards. My hands are tingling as I shuffle these. Trust. Release. And from the Elemental Oracle, Speed. I'm actually getting the jitters reading for you. The nervous energy is so intense. North, expansion. And one of the animal cards. Elk. Beautiful. Oh, intense nervous energy. What's waiting to manifest? I'm going to use the Moonology Oracle. What do you need to release? Waning moon. So strong symbols right now for you are moon, movement, trees. There's a cat in there and a unicorn or horse, and you have the elk. You're very close to achieving your goal. Balance, spirituality and practicality, full moon in Pisces. You are good enough, full moon in Virgo. from the message cards, which are just blanks that I've written on myself. You have everything you need. Trust what inspires you. Honestly, pile 2, my nervous energy right now is through the roof. The energies of this reading are very intense. It's a very fractious, frenetic energy. I'm going to start with Mariah Carey, even though the story is kind of downloading and it's such a rushing energy for you. But the Mariah Carey card that you chose, you see here the infinity symbol, which for me is a connection as well to the strength card and the magician card in tarot. But this is actually a bonus card in this tarot deck, isn't it? It's called the I Don't Know Her card. It's such an interesting storyline. It refers to a time in the past when Mariah Carey was engaged in conflict with another celebrity, and when she was asked about this conflict in an interview, her response to the interviewer was, I don't know her. She didn't just deny the situation or, you know, refuse to be engaged in it, but she actually claimed not to even know who that person was. So for me, this card represents a strong energy of avoidance, detachment, but there's also a quiet dignity in how she responded. She did refuse to be drawn into a public spat. She refused to discuss the situation or even acknowledge it, which also, you know, is kind of standing up straight and you know, refusing to engage in a conflict as well. There's a lot of strength in that, which is why I say this also reminds me of the strength card. Whether or not it's balanced or healthy, and we could debate all day about whether that was the right thing for her to do. Of course, it's purely subjective, and at this stage we really don't know her reasons and the true story behind what occurred. But this is what the storyline that this card references as, and as a beginning energy in your reading. You know, this feels like you have certainly been engaged in a situation where you may have been required to keep your head low and defend yourself. You know, you may have faced judgment, gossip, rumors, or people discussing your relationship to others behind your back or in public, in ways that were perhaps very, very challenging. The connection to the strength card is also, you know, a suggestion that it's been a period that required bravery and courage, you know, for you to protect yourself and to take care of yourself. And certainly this top row of present cards, which is where all of this nervous energy is coming from, it does feel like your world has been turned upside down in quite a profound way. And I'm drawn especially to this Ace of Swords in reverse, which just makes me feel like you have been silenced, or you have chosen to remain silent. There's a strong energy here of I cannot speak up. It's not safe for me to express my truth. And with the Chariot in reverse, and this is where I think most of this nervous energy is coming from, and this Ten of Swords in reverse. But the Chariot in reverse is about recognizing that you're not aligned right now. And you've probably been drawn to this reading because you know that there's something big ahead of you. You know you're meant to be doing something really important, but you just can't grasp what it is. And so this is a very chaotic and stressed and frustrated feeling. It's rooted in this not knowing of being so all over the place in your own mind that there's a tremendous amount of indecision. There's no outlet for you to express yourself. There is no mentor or stable sound perspective around you to bounce ideas off. It does feel like a very isolated energy, a tremendous need to move forward here. But with the Six of Swords in reverse, that inability to do so, being stuck in a situation which you know you're not meant to be in, you know doesn't serve you, but just feeling so afraid to actually move forward. We've got the Four of Cups here as well. And that's all about being insular. You know, we see she's stood here with her cat, which is symbolic of intuition. So it does feel like you've had a period of solitude. You've kind of moved into the bear cave and taken this time for yourself. There's an awareness of your own divine femininity. There's an awareness of this spiritual drive and passion that surges through you when you engage with holistic matters and all of these beautiful magical practices that you've been investigating, this is the part that you're being asked to cling on to and follow, to recognize that your magnetic pull to that is very, very purposeful right now, but there is a fierce resistance in you. And it does feel like with mounting awareness, you are now recognizing the need to face your inner shadow aspects. And there's something in your past, it terrifies you. You're so very afraid to look back. And I think this is where you're actually stuck. You know, it feels to me that we've not drawn the what's blocking you card yet, but when the 10 of Swords is in reverse, it's about what's the best way? A stagnation around closing out a cycle. The same as this 6 of Swords is that inability to move forward. But the 10 of Swords is a painful energy. You know, traditionally in the tarot, we actually see a person with knives in their back and they're kind of on the front, on their front, you know, on the ground with knives in their back. But it actually represents the completion of a very painful cycle. But in order to complete a painful cycle, we have to face the pain. And so when this is coming up in reverse, you know, in your present, it feels to me like you're aware of this divine feminine energy rolling around within you, but it's also brought into your awareness, you know, this connecting with your intuition, recognizing there's a different path available to you. With mounting awareness, you're realizing that there's some healing that has to happen that you're very, very afraid of facing. And it does feel like a significant state of anxiety that you've worked yourself into. You could be at a crossroads in your life where one thing has ended, or you know, something is about to change drastically and decisions need to be made. Whatever it is, this Chariot in reverse is a powerful indicator that you're not fully trusting your intuition. You know, you're not aligning with your path. It's almost like you're scared to go there, scared to believe about what's possible. So there's definitely all kinds of limitations, and it's in your mind, limitations in your mind that's compounded by your inability to have a sounding board, or a group, or even single person that actually understands the drama that's going on in your life, in your head right now. Trust has come up twice for you. It's come up twice, and this row is about your true path. So trust being the first card, and trust what inspires you being a very strong and direct message that's come through here. You have everything you need. You know, this is stillness. That's what's communicated to me by the energy of this card. You've got that, you know, very stable, still scene. Look at the ocean and how calm it is. It's a very serene energy that comes from this card. And trust is about faith. You know, it's about trusting self. And so there's definitely a fear here of standing on your own 2 feet, of always having to rely on self, and not having that kind of foundation of another person or establishment support. So that could be in your home life or work life, where something's shifting that's made you feel so unstable. There's definitely this energy of suddenly finding yourself alone, you know, going through a period of solitude, and you're not necessarily feeling comfortable in that, though you're aware that you need to embrace it. There's just so much fear. And so trust is what you're really being drawn to here. When you trust, you release what doesn't serve you. You know, we have the autumnal scene here with the leaves that, of course, you know, they release themselves so gracefully. They allow themselves to be carried by the wind, which is a representation of our mental conscious awareness. So, you know, I think you know what needs to be released. You're just scared to face it. But when you do, this is when you're going to gather speed. You know, a north, which is about expansion, your north node, and the elk is significant. This is about stepping into balance and alignment. And what's really beautiful about this, because we ask specifically, you know, what your true path is, it is literally to be aligned and to keep facing true north and to allow for your expansion. This isn't a direct message of your true path is X, Y, Z. This is the universe reminding you that your life's mission is to learn faith. it doesn't matter what's happening around that. When you're aligned with faith and you're facing your true north, everything that's meant for you will come into your life. That's the chariot in motion, that movement, that divine plan in action. And that comes through our inspired guidance. You know, knowing isn't necessary when you have faith. When you have faith, you know that everything's going to be okay. You don't need to know the details because your faith allows you to trust. And so the moon is also a significant symbol here for you. It's come up in all of the cards that we've chosen for you, and you've got this aurora borealis here, you know, that very cosmic intuitive energy. The moon, especially in tarot, is all about faith, fear, and illusion. It's all about trusting our instincts or not. You know, fear of the future, that anxiety that you feel, is born of not trusting your instincts. It's connected to the fear in you that, but what if it doesn't work out? What if? And all of those then dark and unpleasant assumptions about what could be that derail you from faith, trust, and that ability to remain calm. This constant flux of anxiety that you experience is literally born of the fear of the future, the anxiety that's created by your lack of faith in your worthiness to have a good and fulfilling and calm life. And it could be that that's never been demonstrated to you. And so it's even harder for you to believe that that could be possible. And it's no accident that we're born with those challenges, because you are strong enough to face even the most fierce oppositions to your true purpose. You know, that's part of the journey. Right now, it feels like a stage of resistance, and you're sitting there and stagnating, and you probably feel stagnant, and that stagnation in itself drives more anxiety. And all you have to learn right now, which will help connect everything to how it's meant to be, and it is balanced and it is aligned and it is stable and so very powerful, is that inner faith, that inner trust. That is your true calling, to learn to trust yourself. When you trust yourself and you begin to trust in the universe, and you learn that state of mindfulness and presence and gratitude and love, you also become a powerful teacher just by your very presence, just by being there. I want to draw another card here because I feel like it would support you to have some clarity, something to look forward to. So we've got Queen of Wands in reverse. This is about reinstating your power, and the Ten of Pentacles. Okay, the Ten of Pentacles is a beautiful card to come, because I talked about everything will be okay, everything will be balanced. You'll have the life that you are literally meant to have. And when we're asking directly, what does that look like for the Ten of Pentacles to come through? This is the card of family, abundance, stability, and, you know, good health, vitality. This is a powerful image. For the Queen of Wands to come up in reverse suggests to me that how you feel about yourself will also transform. You know, right now, you might realize your power, but because it's distorted and being blocked by this healing that's required, so far you're not able to apply it in a productive way. You haven't figured out where to put yourself, or how to align with that point of creation and love within yourself, so that you can enjoy all of the balance, abundance, good health, good fortune, healthy relationships. You know, right now you're like someone with all the tools, and you do have everything you need. You've got all the tools and all the skills, but you haven't got the faith and the stillness that anchors you in the potential for all of these things. Now, this row is about what's waiting to manifest. And the first card here is, what do you need to release? That's what's waiting to manifest. A huge, tremendous release that's come up 3 times now. And the resistance to it is strong, which will actually put you into that forward momentum of speed and swift movement. You know, this card is the equivalent of the 8 of Wands. It's a number 42, which actually reduces to 6, the number of love. But look at how we see this person, they're elevated above their 3D dramas. Look at all the pollution and the storms and the darkness going on down here. They are elevated above it and they are flying. Look how powerful this image is. This person looks absolutely victorious, enjoying their flight. And so you've got to understand that there is a tipping point with ascension and healing. Once you break through, that which you fear the most is what's actually going to bring you peace. And it is a common misconception that when we heal, we have to relive that pain. That's not true. When we heal, we taste that pain again. We get enough of a taste of it to remind us of the energy that's blocked there, to help us unravel it. But once we actually touch it and let it go, it's almost like, you know, taking the lid off or turning the tap on. You know, the pressure forces that water forward. Once you unturn that tap, it just goes. There might be an initial shock of ouch, sting, boof, and then it flows out of you and you feel so peaceful and so relieved. The release is real. You don't need to fear it. You're not going to have to relive the whole event and all of the trauma. You're just going to have a little taste of it so that it can unlock it, so you can tap into those parts where you need to let off that steam. There is so much peace available to you, as well as the message that's coming through here. And it says here that you're very close to achieving your goal. This is about balancing spirituality and practicality, and that you are good enough. So these being symbols of what's waiting to manifest into your reality, this is balance, achievement of your goals, and feeling good enough. You know, stepping into the stability of that full moon in Virgo, which to me is the 10 of Pentacles. You know, just feeling abundant, like I have everything I need. Everything is good. I've got the right support network. I've got an abundant career. I've got friends around me. I've got family. You know, this is a beautiful, beautiful outcome. You know, this is coming to you, but you've got to let go of what's holding you back. I don't know what it is. You do. Let's get one more card to clarify that. What does this 10 of Swords in reverse connect to? What is this pain point that you're so afraid to face? The 2 of Pentacles, so that's change. Strength in reverse, which is interesting because that's where we started. A Knight of Wands. This feels like there's a fear that you can't be enough for yourself. I'm hearing that you might be particularly terrified of this idea of reparenting yourself. The Knight of Wands to me is an adolescent energy as well. So it feels like something that occurred to you in that, you know, certainly under 18, probably between the ages of 11 and 18. You still hold on to the patterns from that period in your life, and they may have been called out. I'm thinking with this Strength card having come up for you, that they may have been called out, or it's all come to the surface recently. You can only break your patterns is a really clear message that's coming through for you here. You can't be responsible for breaking other people's patterns, and you may be very angry or frustrated and still trying to do that. So you're definitely being called to pull your energy back. But it's this period of your life that you are fearful to face. And because you're still looking to create the change outside of self, this is that classic mentality of if only they would stop behaving in XYZ ways, everything would be better. The empowering perspective for you to look at here is, when I choose to behave differently myself, I will get different responses. And I have to also accept that not everyone is capable of seeing the bigger picture as I presently see it. And so I have to have the strength to be the bigger person and to know to choose my battles. This is about recognizing that your power is in your own control, the mastery of your own reactions, the mastery of your own ways of interacting and engaging with others. You're still stuck in these old patterns of conflict and communication that you learned in those adolescent years. and you see how ugly it is outside of you, but you're not taking responsibility for the fact that it exists within you, that this is your shadow blockage. And I think because there is so much anger and so much resentment, and you're not getting the apologies, the compassion, the understanding that you're looking for, it feels like it fuels this rage. But this rage is like poison in you. It's ultimately made you a very anxious person. And, you know, this inability to speak up it's no wonder when there's no one around you that actually sees what you're seeing, that understands the dysfunction in the patterns that you're all partaking in, but you do recognize your role in it. And that's where your power is, to focus on that, to just lean back into the universe and allow yourself to receive what you're meant to receive. This is your major blockage because it blocks you from being still. It forces you to question who you are. You're still very hurt by this dynamic, this experience, whether it be family oriented, it could be a friendship group at that time, but it feels very close to the family unit to me. That's your breakthrough. You need to do everything in your power now, you know, to try and burst through that particular healing barrier. Let's actually see what's blocking you directly. This is the Iris Oracle. Healing through rest. Death of the deceitful. Wow. Alchemy. Visions. Green. Okay. And how can you clear the way forward? Let's get some animal cards. How can you overcome these obstacles and blockages? We've got the fish, so more Pisces energy there. Shark. And hyena. And let's get some personal power cards. I'm responsible for my life. I am perceptive. I am supported. So when the I am responsible for my life card came out, my anxiety again went through the roof. It was like this whoosh of nervous energy that rolled through me. And I remember this coming up earlier in the reading, that, you know, this idea of being responsible for self, and this fear that you can't do that, you can't be your own parent. So whatever this change is, there's a powerful fear of being alone and, you know, always having to just take care of you with no one there to kind of be that bigger, stronger, you know, caring person. So there's a lot of pain here that you just don't have that support. You don't feel like you have that person. And, you know, when we don't have a connection like that to our parents that's really close and supportive and mutually loving, we can feel very alone in the world. It's one of the hardest rejection, abandonment wounds to actually cope with. And so you need to understand that you're not alone in feeling that way. There are, and please comment down below if you relate to this, because I think it helps people to realize that they're not alone. But very few people that, you know, don't have that bond or connection to a supportive family network experience that tremendous pain of feeling so alone in the world. And even when we do have a family, if it's not a strong supportive bond that helps us feel stabilized and loved and approved of, you know, loved unconditionally and supported in the world, without that we really can feel lost at sea. And it does feel like this particular feeling is what overwhelms you at times. And yet you are so very capable. It does say here you have everything you need. And so you're being reminded that again, this fear of the future, this fear of always being alone, in essence, it's that stress, that fear, and not facing it and allowing yourself to release it in healthy ways that hold you back as well. You know, ultimately fear is fear, but darkness doesn't really exist. It's only the absence of light, and you are a creator of light. You can create and cultivate your own light. You know, you have everything you need. So you just need to relax and realize that you have got this, and that you're not always going to be in your own, because that 10 of Pentacles, that energy is the energy of community, of family, of support. And so it could be a shift in perspective that changes that dynamic, or it could be that you'll have a new support network that's going to, you know, come forward in your near reality. Healing through rest as a blockage is so interesting. When rest is a blockage to your healing, for me, this suggests a state of inactivity or productive efforts around the practice of healing. You might be doing a lot of research and reading about it, but you're not actually doing it. So you've probably been absorbing lots of guidance. I'm hearing that, you know, you try to meditate, but there's no real routine or discipline around it, and you don't feel like you're doing it right. The death of the deceitful is the breaking down of the ego and that coming into awareness. And you need to give yourself a break in terms of what you haven't been doing. It's okay, you know, that you weren't sure where to apply this or what to do. But it is this state of stagnation that has kind of, you know, really is what's blocking you right now, that you need to disable. The breaking down of the ego and that awareness allows us to face those shadow aspects. And again, that's when we get that perfect harmony and balance. You know, this is alchemy of the energetic kind. We see the chakra colors represented here. And even with this visions, this is the switching on of your psychic skills and the connection, you know, to the earth. As blockages, for me, this is what's lacking. These are things that you do have that you're not paying attention to, that you're not using to help sustain a state of stillness, trust, balance, and faith. Faith is everything. Once you take care of the awareness that's already present for you, and this is what's really beautiful, because you know that you do have everything you need. You're aware of your own awareness. You're aware of your spiritual skill and learning. You just need to now put this into practice to start paying attention to the visions, to the dreams, to the signs, to that awareness, to tap in to that balance that's within you. You know, you've definitely been ungrounded. This has also been a blockage. Remember, full moon in Virgo is earth energy. And this is about making sure that you're grounding all of that knowing. Otherwise, it just gets lost in the ether and you walk around dizzy and disconnected. So, you know, for blockages, it's literally not aligning with your true path of spiritual seeking and advancement. You know, you believe in all of this stuff, but you don't apply it to yourself. There's a lack of faith in your own divinity here. This has come through in quite a lot of my piles recently, in my readings. It feels like a strong message for the collective. A lot of people are being called to action, not necessarily to become working practitioners, but to work on themselves. You know, this feels like the light army being called forward to, when you're healing yourselves, you are healing the world. Your light creates more light for everybody. Just focus on this calling, trust what inspires you. You're being magnetized to it for a reason. The message is coming through that it's not a waste of your time. So you may be looking at it very practically, maybe even there may be some monetary constraints that are real perceived that aren't real, that you're thinking of as well. Or maybe it's how others will perceive you and that public image thing that came through at the beginning of the reading. But certainly there's a resistance in you to actually embracing your spiritual path as well. How can you clear it? I mean, the animal energies here that, you know, are highlighted as what you need. The fish is about that Pisces, and this is, again, balancing spirituality and practicality, grounding what you know through your intuitive senses so that you can actually allow it to create more abundance, stability, support, love, and health and vitality in your life. And the fish is all about intuition. This is about recognizing your power to create. And the shark and the hyena, for me, are both predators. You know, they go after their prey. They pursue their objective with fierce power and force. And you can see that in both of these cards, the light and dark dark aspects are highlighted. You know, this is about going at your healing as well, going after your shadow aspects with drive, recognizing that it's actually your strength, it's your power. It can feel scary when you begin, but once you have that first healing breakthrough and you experience that profound release, and it really is going from an extreme low to a beautiful high, it actually becomes addictive. You'll be looking for more pain to unplug because you know you're going to feel so much better and lighter on the other side of it. I'm responsible for my life. Yes, you are. You are the queen and king of your experience. You get to choose. This is your life. You are the leading person in the movie of your life. Every second you are creating the next chapter, and you have this beautiful power to connect and align and manifest. You've always had it. And you are intuitive. I am perceptive. You've got spider energy here coming in with the webs. And again, the spider is the power of creation. And I'm drawn to the red rose here, that symbol of passion. You know, find what you're passionate about and do that. Forget the practicalities. When you ground your intuitive knowings, you're going to find all of the support you need. You are supported. Look, there's this suggestion here of angel wings. And again, this elk energy, that's power, force, groundedness, and stability. You know, these are such intense energies for you to embrace right now. You have everything you need. You are a creator. You are supported. And yes, you are responsible and so capable. You know, you don't need to be afraid that you're going to trip up or let yourself down. You may have done in the past, but you're more grown now. You know, you're so very ready for this. So let's get some final guidance cards and charms as well before we take this over to the extended reading. So these are the Elemental Oracle cards. Oh, I've got goosebumps for you, pile 2. You're moving on to good things. You just need to allow it and, you know, learn to face the fear and go to battle with it head on. Don't let it squash you. You're about to break through. Wow, we've got fire. I love that. Number 8. Magnetism. So attraction, and again, I'm hearing manifestation, abundance, and pressure or transformation. Oh, big truth shivers. Okay, let's get some Starseed cards. Meditation, freedom, release, and guidance. And from the charms, oh, that was just the back of one that's just smashed my grid. Let's put all that back. I have to do this because I can feel it when it's off kilter and it really irritates me. Okay, that's better. Right, keep going, keep growing. The spider web, again, so interesting. And the moon, the crescent moon, the hourglass, and the losers club. Oh, honestly, this is such an intense reading. The waves of energy that pass through me when I turn some of these cards over or the messages come through is intense. It just feels like you are chaotically anxious right now. There's so much frenetic energy in your mind. But fire, you know, as final guidance for this card to come through, this is the 8 of Wands as well, the energy that came through earlier, that swift movement. Look at how powerful this person is. And what they're doing is they're recognizing that they can create with intention. They're aware of how that fire is moving. It's emanating from their right hand, which is the giving hand. And, you know, they're creating fire for themselves. This is the energy of manifestation. Magnetism is also connected to that power of abundance. And again, you've got that crescent moon symbol come through twice for you. Your intuition, your vision, your inspiration, your vivid imagination that helps you see and visualize and create your future. within you, within yourself, as a projection is powerful. When you find that point of balance and alignment within yourself, and there were some similar messages coming through in pile 1 today. It may help you to watch that as well. Not identical circumstances, but similar messages. You don't understand how much potential you actually have at this stage. Not everyone can align with that energy of creation within them with the same force, just like some of us can't all play the piano brilliantly, or, you know, some of us are more adept at athletics than we are creative pursuits. Everyone has their strengths. One of your strengths is manifesting, it's aligning with the energy of creation. The pressure and build up, the mounting pressure that you feel as that awareness drives you towards your healing, look, we see that breakthrough happening here. Allow the pressure, let it build, and allow the release to happen. Look, when they break through, it's golden. You know, everything's just beautiful, shimmering. You need to trust that there is light available to you when you let yourself go. Meditation, I know you've tried it and you think that you don't know how to do it. Just keep applying yourself. There are so many free resources available online. It says take a moment to connect to source. And this is what the push is. It's reminding you of the power you have within you. Release has come through again. Release anything that keeps you from your path of authenticity. Just let it go. Freedom awaits when you follow your heart. Nurture your soul with love and freedom to grow. And we've also got guidance. You are not alone. You are guided by masters and teachers of the highest realms. You are supported. And we really are all in this together. You know, you're one of many people watching this reading right now that are aligning with this state of being and going through what you're going through. You know, talk to each other in the comments. Connect with each other in forums, and you can join my Facebook networking group where you can meet, you know, other viewers of this reading and like-minded souls that are growing and suffering from the same growing pains that you are. And that really helps us not feel alone. And I can tell you quite sincerely that this community has been a tremendous support for me in that respect. You know, I don't know what I would have done without it, because it makes you feel crazy. A lot of people don't get it. Not everyone has the awareness that you have, but there are others. There are others of us, and we are here for you. And you are so perceptive. You know, the web has come through again, reminding you once more of your power of creation. Keep growing. You know, you just have to carry on. You know what to do. You know, you might think you're running out of time, but everything is moving as it's meant to. This reading is intended to make you aware of how you can accelerate your own path. You know, stop thinking that you're a loser, an outcast, an alien, that you're isolated in your weird experience. You're absolutely not. You're loved and accepted in many circles. You've just got to tap into them. Trust your intuition, pile 2. You know, this is going to be okay. I really want to draw your attention back to that 10 of Pentacles card. What's waiting to manifest? And I want you to go away and read about the 10 of Pentacles. You know, just Google what that means so that you can really understand that this is the universe saying it really is going to be okay. You just need to trust. Find that stillness within you where you'll find that point of creation, and everything's going to start happening swiftly for you, so quickly. So I really hope that helps. I'm going to take this over to the extended now. But thank you so much for joining me here. It really has been a pleasure to read for you today. Please comment down below and tell me what you thought of this reading. I haven't done this topic before. If you'd like to see it again, it's really helpful to me to hear and receive your feedback. So thank you to those of you that take the time to do that. And thank you so much for all of your likes. The thumbs up really means so much. And also to those very kind souls that subscribe, and the very generous souls that take the time to engage with my commercial adverts and content here. That's what helps my channel to grow, because YouTube will always, you know, promote me if I'm promoting them. So when you do those clicks, I receive a small revenue per 1,000 clicks or views, and that really helps to keep my channel going. I wish we didn't have to do it, but unfortunately it is the way of YouTube. But I appreciate your engagement so much with that. Thank you so much. I really am so grateful. It's such a beautiful energy exchange and a privilege for me to share with you and for you to share your love in that respect. So thank you. So I will see you next time, happy souls. Take care. Bye. Hello, pile number 3. Welcome to your reading. You have chosen 2-pack and the High Tarot, and today we are asking, what is your true path, pile 3? What is your true calling? What are you here for? You know, what's your purpose? This is all about unlocking your fullest potential, you know, about figuring out what you're really meant to be doing and what's going to feel the greatest and, like, you know, the best thing forward for you, the best foot forward, should we say. More importantly, we're looking at what is actually trying to manifest into your reality right now and what's blocking that. You know, what obstacles are in the way that are either clouding your judgment or not allowing you to see, you know, what opportunities are actually available to you. And of course, we're going to look at how you can move forward, you know, how you can realise your fullest potential and actually manifest exactly what's waiting for you. So we're going to use a ton of oracle cards, we're going to use the charms, we're going to get all the messages that you need today. Please also make sure that you take a moment right now just to ask the universe for a sign. It can be anything. It could be an animal, a plant, a name, a colour, a deity or goddess. It can be any object or, you know, whatever works for you. This just gives the universe the opportunity to communicate with you directly, you know, to let you know when you're on the right path and to pay careful attention to the messages that are popping up when your sign appears. So just take a deep breath and hold that in mind. I'm going to start shuffling. We're going to pull first. I'd just like to get some cards. We're going to move 2-pack over here for a moment because we'll read that card as well. But I'm just going to pull a few cards first to help me understand what's going on in your present and where you're at now. We're using the High Tarot for this. The High Tarot are actually designed and created by the illustrator who is creating my oracle deck for me. We've been working together for a year now, and it's very long overdue, but we're both perfectionists and want it to be beautiful. So, you know, we're still going with it. That hopefully will be launched at the end of January. But if you want to buy this deck by Dan Francis, you can find a link to it in the description box below. I believe he's still got some first editions left. He's absolutely brilliant. I do love this deck. Okay, let's do this part 3. What's going on in your present that we need to focus on as well? Okay, we've got the Devil. We've got the King of Wands in reverse. We've got the Queen of Cups in reverse. Ooh, okay, 2 came out there. We're going to keep them both. We've got the Knight of Wands in reverse. The Empress. And finally the Page of Pentacles. And then let's get some cards for what is your true calling. I'm going to use the Sacred Destiny Oracle. Let's get 2 of those. We've got Power and Volcanoes. We've got Comfort or Hearth. And from the Elemental Oracle, Simplicity and Freedom. And finally, let's get the animal cards from the Wild Unknown Animal deck. We've got Earthworm. Okay. And what's waiting to manifest? What's waiting to manifest? What cards are we using here? Okay, Moonology. From the Moonology deck. You're very close to achieving your goal. Your hard work is paying off. Show the world the real you, full moon in Aquarius. And nothing is yet set in stone, mutable moon. I'm going to get some message cards as well. don't need closure. You can't change people, but you can change you. Establish healthy boundaries. Okay, now we're going to start with this King of Cups card, the significator that you chose when picking your pile. The King of Cups is Scorpio energy, and it's also about emotional mastery. So we can anticipate that that's an important topic in your reading, because the King of Cups is also about resurrection. Scorpio energy is literally the rising of the phoenix. And so it would assume that you've been through or are going through a really dark period at the moment, and it may feel like everything's collapsed, the proverbial tower moment. But the King of Cups is a really beautiful energy because it's about expanding our awareness and our mastery over our own experience, in particular the emotional one, and literally being reborn or rebirthed into a much more powerful and stable energy. So this really is, you're becoming, this is a beautiful energy to be coming through for you. In the present, we have an addiction or an obsession, something which has been causing you a lot of pain. Now, an addiction isn't necessarily just to a substance. It can also be to a certain behaviours. Perhaps you're addicted or obsessed with thinking about something in particular, but the devil is always connected to the energy of unhealthy attachment. This is you not feeling yourself, feeling out of control, with energy, negative energy flowing in every direction, and not being able to kind of pull it back in and regain your balance and control. It could be a relationship that you're addicted to as well, but I do feel that this is an addiction of the mind that is just now completely, shall we say, chaotic. And you can imagine that with this King of Cups, this Scorpio energy, that you're feeling it all. Remember, this is about primarily the emotional body and the emotional experience that needs to be brought back into balance. We've also got the King of Wands here in reverse, which means you're really not standing in your strength or your power. In fact, you may feel very disempowered in your present, uncertain of how to lead forward. It is a deeply spiritual energy with the King of Wands in reverse. And when that energy is distorted or dignified, we're not working in congruence or resonance with our true calling. There'll be something in your soul that's eating away at you, and you're on the wrong path, but you also feel powerless to change it. And remember, change is also significant with that Scorpio energy. It's also symbolic of the Death card, and again, that energy of rebirth or resurrection. We've also got the Queen of Cups in reverse. Now, this is Cancerian energy, and this is that emotional overwhelm and distortion that we were referring to. The Queen of Cups in reverse also can refer to a person in your life who is emotionally coercive, manipulative, or abusive. So perhaps this is somehow connected to the relationship that crops up here for you as well with the devil. Needless to say, in application to you and your energies too, the Queen of Cups is emotions that are out of control, emotions that we have no stability or power over, and so it could be a period of really painful emotional overwhelm. We've also got the Knight of Wands in reverse, in addition to that King of Wands in reverse, and so there's two different energies at play here, because it's not just your present mature self that's struggling. There is a part of your inner child as well that is stuck at a certain point in your life and hasn't had an opportunity to heal or evolve from that perspective. This is definitely a spiritual blockage as much as it is a literal one. The Knight of Wands is the adventurer. It's often indicative of travel, exploration. It's an exciting, impulsive, inspired drive that we have to go out and adventure and experience the world. And so when it comes up in reverse, it's probably been since a fairly young age that you've actually been stuck in this cycle of feeling disempowered and not knowing what to do. And when you have years of that weight behind you, of feeling disempowered, of feeling like you don't know what the next step is or what you're meant to be doing, the build-up of pressure and indeed confusion can lead to a dramatic impact on the nervous system, usually depression, or what would spiritually be described as the dark night of the soul. So, these current energies are very, very stressful for you. I would imagine that, you felt this kind of stagnant, I don't know how to move or improve things for quite some time. We've got the Empress here, though, which is a beautiful energy to come up. It reminds you that you do have access to this power to co-create, to move forward. In your mind, something dramatic is lacking, but that's an illusion. The only thing lacking is your genuine awareness of your own authentic truth and power to create exactly what it is you want. And at the moment, that may just seem inconceivable because you really don't feel like you have that power. But you know, you do. You really do. The universe needs you to know that you absolutely have that power. It's just a case of aligning with it. We've got the Page of Pentacles as well. You know, right now this is a period of discovery you're in. And even though it may not feel like that, it feels stagnant. There's a lot been happening beneath the surface. Remember how plants grow. You know, we put that seed in the ground and for a really long period of time, it looks like nothing is happening. You know, and we can't keep disturbing the soil to dig underneath to see what's going on, or we interrupt the process. But it can be very frustrating when it appears that nothing's happening. You know, this Page of Pentacles is here to reassure you that actually, even though it appears nothing is happening, this is a period of observation and discovery that you're moving through. You're learning at a dramatic pace right now, even if it feels like you're not. It may not make sense, even what you've learned, but stuff is happening that needed to happen, and you're being asked to trust in the process. In terms of what your, what your true calling is, we've got power and comfort, simplicity and freedom, and the earthworm, which is about being grounded. Now, in real terms, and simplicity really stands out, doesn't it? Front and center. What is meant for you and what your true path is simple. And you're being asked to recognize that, beyond the illusion of what we think we want. So let's say, for example, what we think we want is, stable finances, enough money. And you might have assigned that desire to numerous tangible things. I want to live in a great big house in this area. I want a beautiful car that looks like this to drive, and I'll shop in these places and wear these clothes and have these experiences. When we talk about what we want financially, there'll be a whole range of things that we attach to that. And it's the same when we look at relationships. What do we really want? We want to be materially comfortable with all of the things and all the ways in which we envision that. We want healthy, happy relationships with the people we love, perhaps romantic as much as familial and friendly. And, we want to feel good about ourselves. Whatever it is you think you want, for most people, it boils back down to those three. And what the universe is saying is this power, which is, to be in control of your life and feeling good about what you're creating, this comfort, which is that homely stability and probably a family, you've got a baby there and a dog, you've also got simplicity and freedom. Simplicity is just for everything, it's that energy of I don't want anything big and crazy, I'm not trying to manifest multi-millions. I just want a simple, easy, calm, fulfilling life and the freedom to maneuver within it in a way that makes me feel good and happy and like I'm moving in the right direction. And that earthworm, that's about digging deep and really reconnecting ourselves back in our body, being happy with who we are. All of these things are really simple. As I said, that simplicity front and center. And there's a feather here as well, which to me is symbolic of hope, optimism, to feel good again about life and to trust in your future. What's waiting to manifest in your life is this. Exactly everything you want. And it is really simple. And the universe is saying, look, you can have it. Your true path, you already know what it looks like. It's actually really simple. Oh, sorry, can't put that card up. It's actually really, really simple. You want to live in faith and optimism that you know how to take the next step and create the life you want, which actually is one of freedom, power, and comfort. In a nutshell, it's actually simple stuff. You don't want for much. And you deserve all of these things. And the universe is saying that you can have them. This is what's waiting to manifest. You've perceived 1,000,001 reasons why you can't have these things. And the universe is saying very clearly that you are mistaken. You absolutely can have these things. So let's look at what's actually blocking you. Because if this is what your true calling is, and it's waiting to manifest, it says here quite clearly, you're close to achieving that goal. Your hard work will pay off. This is about showing the world the real you, and recognizing that nothing is actually set in stone. The future isn't created. You have this very warped and distorted and limiting belief that your life is over. It's been ruined. Whatever this addiction or obsession, whatever these emotional pain points that are keeping you stuck, that convince you that your life is over or ruined or can't improve, they are false. They are limitations of the mind. They're not true. You know, and it says here quite clearly, you don't need closure. You can't change people, but you can change you. And when you change you, you change your whole reality. You don't need closure. I'm pretty convinced this is connected to a relationship somehow. The need for closure suggests there was a bitter ending that you haven't been able to come to terms with. And so, you know, that's a really clear message. You know, we get closure from the inside. We don't need other people to change. You know, it says here quite clearly you can't change people. We don't need other people to change, to agree with us, to give us anything in order to be able to move forward. Stop disempowering yourself by putting this objective in someone else's hands. It sounds like you've convinced yourself that unless a certain person, possibly this Queen of Cups in reverse, acknowledges their wrongdoing, acknowledges, you know, who you are and validates who you are and what you believed, that you can't move forward. And the universe is offering a very clear message that that is not true. You can't change people. You know, their inability to do that isn't a measure of what you deserve or of your worth. It's a reflection of who they are and their limitations at this moment in time. And that's none of your business. You can't change that. You can only change how you perceive it. You can only change how you react to it. And that's what you're being called to do. You really aren't as stuck as you think you are. Nothing is set in stone, pile 3. You know, you need to be more mutable and to go with the flow of the ocean. I do feel, it's a rising up, a very intense pressure, and I know you feel it too. There's something in you that knows you need to take action, but you're lost in that, and you're also stuck in this really distorted belief that nothing you try will work. You're so convinced that change isn't possible and that your life is over and ruined that it inhibits you from actually taking the next steps. You know, you're so close to getting what you want. Your hard work will pay off. There's a new moon in Capricorn here, which is all about stable, abundant new beginnings. You need to trust. You need to trust that what you want, you know, the path you want, you know what your true calling is. You know how you're meant to live your life. You feel it deeply in your bones and in the root of your soul. It's actually really simple. And you have access to it. It's literally waiting to manifest into your now. So let's look at what's blocking you. What's blocking you? I'm going to go with actually the Iris Oracle. Here it is. What is blocking you? What's blocking you from manifesting this? I know we've already talked about the distorted beliefs, but I want to get some more information around this for you. Okay. No one is yours but you. Healing through rest. 64. The other one was number 41. Gifts from the past. 59. And visions. 67. I feel like I need to get one more. Calm within transformation. Okay, we said that, didn't we? This energy of Scorpio and the resurrection. No one is yours but you. Bearing in mind we're looking at what's blocking you. There's an idea of ownership here. There's an idea of entitlement over someone's time, communication, reciprocity. There is a feeling that you deserve it and you want it and you can't exist without it. Again, this may be connected to that addiction or obsession with another person, a relationship that's ended that you want back. Okay, this is a really harsh, potentially triggering message for me to deliver. I want you to receive it with an open heart, okay? No one owes you anything. It's no one else's obligation to give you what you need or to help you feel good again. And I know that is so hard because you so desperately want to be rescued and you feel so alone. But this journey that you're on is asking you to come back to yourself. It's asking you to recognize that everything you need and want is in you, including the love you desire. You know, if we're not given that love when we're kids, if we're not raised in an environment where we're taught to love ourselves because we are loved and nurtured in the right way, then we spend the rest of our lives looking for it outside of ourselves. And in your case, this is what's causing you the deepest pain. You want it, and you want it so bad, and you're furious that you're not getting it. In particular, you're furious with one person because they're not treating you in the way that you deserve and you believe that you need. And this is the universe saying it's not their responsibility to give you that. And actually, you know, the whole purpose of this interaction and this journey you're on is to learn to give it to yourself. And the love that's in you is so much bigger than any love you can find outside of yourself. I know it can seem impossible to believe that when you haven't had a taste of it yet, because the love that we've received from others has felt so intoxicating and good. But I promise you that the love that's in you, that you have access to and power over, is so potent and so much bigger than anything else that's available to you. This is a number 41 card. It's about stepping into your power. 4 is the number of the divine masculine energy. It's about stability, power, and leadership. And number 1 is the energy of the magician, the creator, you know, the physical masculine energy that actually makes stuff happen in this dimension. No one is yours but you. This is for you to create and make happen, for you to give it to yourself. And until you give up on this idea that someone else is responsible for giving you this closure and for rescuing you, you're going to keep going around in circles. You know, this is your primary blockage here, is that you're waiting for someone else to give it to you. But it's for you. It's for you to find it. Healing through rest. It may have felt like there's been a really long period of time of being stuck, like we saw with that Knight and King of Wands. But actually, it was necessary. You've got to give yourself a break for being what you've perceived as stuck for so long. And the universe is asking you to recognize that actually, you know, what's holding you back is your inability to accept that and do the healing work that the universe is creating time and space for. You know, you've been beating yourself up for not doing anything productive with this time, whereas the most productive thing you could have done and that was really required of you was to actually rest and focus on your healing, to tap in, you know, to that inner truth. 6 is the number of love. Again, 4 is the number of the divine masculine power, of stability and safety and security and leadership. You combine these 2 energies and you have the number 10, completion. You know, this is what needs to be completed. Your healing has been blocked because you've been putting the responsibility and your focus on somebody else. When you return that focus to you and you focus on healing it, you know, and that's the thing you actually have the power to do, you're going to unblock everything that is inhibiting you from getting what you want. Gifts from the past. You're being asked to recognize that everything that's happened to you wasn't a punishment. It wasn't in vain. And as hard as it is to accept that those hard times were meant to be, that is absolutely the case. We don't come here to have an easy ride. We come here to learn. Now, I'm really drawn to this compass that's in this card. And I think one of the most challenging things that has happened to you in your past, the karmic lessons that you've been learning, and we can see this hand reaching out of the clouds with a compass, is that you have forgotten how to trust your own intuition. You've forgotten how to connect to your own truth. You've had to question your own integrity and sense of knowing so much because you have been emotionally abused and lied to and gaslighted, that you have fallen out of alignment with your truth. The compass is symbolic of, you know, coming out of that confusion represented here by the clouds and reconnecting with your truth. You know, you've got to recognize the experience that's brought you here as a gift, to recognize it was showing you something important about yourself. It was teaching you how to trust yourself by showing you what wasn't trustworthy. You mustn't beat yourself up that that's happened or feel aggrieved or resentful that it's happened. It's about recognizing the blessings contained within it. There's always a silver lining. Again, you talk about wanting to be optimistic and faithful, but you have to show some optimism in what's occurred and some acceptance around that. Realigning with your inner truth is what's going to open the door to you actually moving forward. When we can't trust ourselves, we can't trust anybody. And that's torture. You know, because everyone is a potential risk. Every person we ever interact with or get intimate with is a potential risk, and we end up feeling terrified and vulnerable. This exacerbates energies such as anxiety or depression, and it makes us feel lonely because we can't really open up and accept the love that's available to us. You believe that it's the rest of the world that isn't trustworthy, but what you're being shown here is that you just need to learn to trust you. When you can trust you, your energy of discernment, your awareness of other people will be more acute. And so you won't find yourself in risky situations because you'll trust your own sense of knowing. You'll notice the red flags because you know how to listen to the inner truth that is deeply, deeply, running through every aspect of your being. This is about literally recalibrating that inner compass once more so you can return to that place of authenticity. I think as a blockage, visions is really challenging. You know, actually, and I just want to highlight here, I forgot the numbers. 5 is the number of the Hierophant. It's the number of transformation, change, and higher learning. 9 is the energy of the Hermit and Virgo. It's that connection to the power of self and going within to self-reflect, self-realize, self-actualize. You know, those numbers are really significant in line with that compass. You know, the gifts from the past, your past and the trauma that you face is a gift. It's what's bringing you back to your truth. With visions as a blockage, what I'm hearing and seeing with this is that you have also perhaps woken up during this process and you've had really peculiar psychic experiences or disturbances that because you didn't understand them, couldn't make sense with them, couldn't align with the truth of what it was, has perhaps been actually quite terrifying for you, made you feel like you were crazy, or exacerbated any underlying mental health concerns that you've had with anxiety, depression, and so forth. Not knowing what's real and what isn't on the inside or outside, and then combining it with this psychic awakening or experience is indeed quite traumatic. We have these 2 numbers here again. Number 6, the energy of love, connected to the Lover's card, and number 7, which is about divinity. You know, both of these energies combined connect to the number 13, which is also the Death card, or Scorpio. You know, that's the energy we've been looking at. So you've got to remember that, you know, with all of this, actually, pardon me, Scorpio is, no, it's the devil that's 15, yeah, it is Scorpio. It is the Death card. So, you know, this is part of your transformation. And even though you've been worried about it, you know, there's a message here that you need to unblock the fear connected to it. Remember that you can be in control of that energy and that you can bring it into balance. It doesn't mean you're crazy, but you need to find a way to make sense of this and seek the support that you need to be able to move through it rather than trying to ignore it. It feels like awareness has been really scary for you and you've tried to ignore it, distract yourself from it, deny it in order to stay in this comfort zone which feels a bit safer. But the comfort zone and your inability to face the psychic awakening is what's holding you back from manifesting what you want. Indeed, it's that psychic awakening that leads you also back to your power, you know, and to feel powerful. And this is also a number 9 card, you know, the power of self, which is exactly what this is all bringing you back to. Calm within the transformation. So this has also been a challenge that you've not been able to relax into this and allow it. You've resisted it all the way along. And, you know, it's really significant that there's 2 snakes here. Snakes are symbolic of transformation. Remember, they shed skin, and actually snakes really resist that skin shedding process because it's so uncomfortable. You know, they will literally drag that loose skin around for quite a while until they literally cannot bear it anymore, in which case they'll pause and do that hard work of completely wriggling out of it. But they do resist it. It's nature's way to resist anything that's uncomfortable or pushes us out of our comfort zone. But this feeling of being stuck has been largely connected to this refusal or resistance to face the transformative energies that are presenting. Again, you're being asked to relax into it. I'm drawn to the idea, or the fact, that this is a number 12 card. That's the energy of the Hanged Man. You know, it's the energy of shifting your perspective, literally completely turning it on its head and looking at things in a different way. I'm noticing as well that there's 6 candles here again, that number of love, and that this reduces to 3, the energy of the Empress, the divine feminine energy of creation, which contains both the power of the magician and the high priestess. the magician being that divine masculine power of creation, and the high priestess, that divinely feminine connection to source, to love and power in the 5D. When you combine them is when you have that magic, the energy of creation, which is why it follows through to the Empress. So, you've just got to get out of your own way. Everything that you want is available to you. I want to come as well to establishing healthy boundaries. I think it was purposeful that this came up around the blockages, even though it wasn't meant to, because I think a big literal blockage in your experience of moving towards what you need and want and what's meant for you is not knowing, when to create a boundary and when to say no. You may be living in an environment that doesn't help you function calmly or peacefully. You may be spending time with people that are either abusive or dysfunctional or a really poor influence on your energy and state of being. Establishing healthy boundaries also means taking responsibility to where you're putting yourself and who you're surrounding yourself with, so that you can be safe and you have the most stable base possible from which to springboard into a new state of being. For many of you that might not be easy. Perhaps you're stuck living in a certain place or with certain people because you don't have access to the finances to shift out of it. And so you're going to have to establish boundaries in a different way, by being more assertive or removing yourself from the home more frequently so you have more space to recuperate or rejuvenate your energy. But you do need to take action. And certainly when it comes to socializing, we do have a lot more power and to decide where we're putting ourselves. And that's something you need to be responsible for as well. So let's look at how you can actually move forward. What's the guidance for actually moving forward? I'm going to get the animal cards and the personal power deck. Okay, let's do this. How can you move forward? Okay, wow. Scorpio energy comes through again for you. The rabbit and the lamb. And from the personal power deck, we've got I am wild and free. I am ready, and you so are ready, path 3. You're ready to shift out of this, and I am forgiving. Okay, so Scorpion, isn't it incredible that came out again? Remember this King of Cups energy that we had at the very beginning, the energy of Scorpio and transformation and resurrection that has flowed through this whole reading. One thing I want to share with you about Scorpion energy is that it has access to the full spectrum of emotions. And that's to say that, it goes from the absolute lowest of the low to the highest of the high and everything in between. Now, when we try and inhibit our pain, we narrow the whole channel so that our emotional experience is somewhere here in the middle where it's the most comfortable. But what we don't realize is that in blocking out painful emotion, we're also blocking out our ability to really feel joy. By trying to keep ourselves somewhere in the middle, it may feel safe and more comfortable, but that emotional avoidance actually narrows our potential to feel the good stuff as much as it does the dark stuff. And so, what's actually been happening to you is that part of this transformation is that it's been blown right open. And that's incredibly painful because you're already emotionally avoidant. And it's like the universe has come in and cracked its whip and said no more. And it's blown you open or cracked you open. And it's plunged you. You have found your way into the darker side of that spectrum. And it feels like you're stuck there. Scorpio energy in its darkest depths is very low. It's Plutonian energy. And this is both a blessing and a curse, this thing that's happened. But you need to get that emotional power back within it. And the King of Cups is the energy that's saying you can do that. He is the master of that emotional spectrum. He knows that he can be here, but that he can also move himself up here. Now, I do teach about how to align our emotional body in some of my classes. It may help you to check them out. In particular, there is one starting in January called How to Stand in Your Power, which will contain specific exercises on that topic. But do some research into how to work with your emotions, how to manage your emotions in the meantime. I have got a mediumship class that's starting on the 11th of December, that's this Saturday, which you can also check out. There'll be similar exercises in that which are relevant to this part of your journey and will also help you embrace those psychic gifts that you're really struggling to control and that frighten you. Mediumship is just the practice of connecting with consciousness. And Scorpio is one of the most psychic signs out there because it has that range of emotion. Look at where Scorpio is in your chart if you've picked this reading, because it's really relevant. This is an energy that you need to master. And you need to allow yourself to be vulnerable. You know, this rabbit energy is all about allowing ourselves to be gentle and vulnerable in the face of what we're experiencing. Don't allow this bitterness and resentment that you felt toward this person to harden your heart. It doesn't mean you can't be open and trusting again. It doesn't mean that you have to turn yourself into someone more rigid and avoidant. You know, don't allow it to disempower who you really are. And again, the lamb, these are both symbols of fertility, creation and rebirth as well. The lamb also demonstrates that vulnerability. And it's also that energy of sacrifice, isn't it? That you've had to sacrifice something in order to be reborn as this gentle being that can be vulnerable, that can feel safe in that vulnerability. That's always the goal, to be able to trust ourselves, to experience that whole range of emotion and to feel good in it. I am wild and free. Remember, freedom came up as a very powerful message for you. It's also the energy of, where's the other animals that we pulled out? I don't know why, but I thought we had the energy of the horse here somewhere. But the horse, maybe it was a sign you asked for. The horse is symbolic of freedom and liberation. You know, you are free to have what you want. You mustn't continue to tell yourself you're trapped. And you are ready. You know, change is difficult because often, even though we're in a lot of pain and discomfort, at least we know what we're getting and we're comfortable with it because we've had time to get used to it. And so you see this person, you know, they don't want to acknowledge they're ready. Which part of you is so stuck in this idea of, you know, being stuck, that actually it's that idea of being stuck that's one of the most inhibiting, you know, that you can't envisage yourself as anyone but someone that's stuck. And so you really need to break that particularly limiting box of thought that you've created for yourself. I am forgiving. You know, this is about forgiving yourself and the other people involved. You know, it doesn't serve you. You know, being angry and holding on to anger and resentment and bitterness and all of those ugly feelings that we torture ourselves with, it's like drinking poison and expecting the other person to get sick. You know, ultimately it makes you sick. You have to start by forgiving yourself. You did what you could with the awareness you had at the time. You did your best. You know, you mustn't beat yourself up. There's a part of you that feels like you betrayed yourself, but you're betraying yourself now. You didn't betray yourself then. You know, you went in with your heart wide open, which is the bravest and boldest and most beautiful thing to do. It wasn't the wrong thing to do because it's led you into an experience you were meant to have and learn from. And you were meant to come through it strong, not beating yourself up. You know, you don't need to punish yourself anymore. You don't need to beat yourself up or be angry with yourself. You need to let that go and come into acceptance of who you are. I'm going to get some final guidance cards and charms. We're going to use, where's the Shaman's Dream Oracle? Here it is. Use that one. Let's have a look at some star seeds. We're going to get some charms as well, and I think some crystal cards. Now we're going to take this over to the extended reading. If this one's been helpful for you, you can find the link for the extended in the description box and the comments below. In the extended, we're going to go deeper as to how you can, you know, really start to step into this energy of manifesting. Maybe look more closely at what kind of healing you can do to help you realise your truth. Let's see what we're getting for final guidance now. We've got Drifter, experiencing life as it comes. What's this one? A tidy house, clarity and organisation. And repairing the veil, forgiveness has come through again for you there. Let's get some star seeds. Earth guide. Celebration. I think we'll have to keep those that flew out. Intuition and observation. And for the charms. Okay, we've got a piece of lapis, and that's the throat chakra. We've got a pentacle, We've got keep going, keep growing. We've got the dead battery. We've got the hermit crab and the lava stone. And from the crystal cards, if you're into working with crystals, this will just give you an indicator of which crystals can assist you in achieving your objectives in this situation. We have got cuprite. I'm going to bring this up close so you can just pause the video and read that. Cuprite and jade. Again, same again, just pause the video and you can have a read through that. Okay, final guidance to you, path 3, before we take this extended. Drifter, experience life as it comes. This is asking you to get in the flow and trust in the divine order. Stop trying to control things. You know, you can have what you want, but first you have to let go of the idea that it should have been a different way, and you have to start co-creating the next step by letting down your energetic defenses towards self. You know, allow yourself to just experience as it comes. You know, what you're asking for, as we've established, is simple. You know, it's achievable. You've got to trust in the potential and realness of that potential. Again, we've got that number one and number 4 here, which is the energy of the magician, the energy of the emperor. This is about taking back your power by surrendering to the flow of what's occurred and allowing yourself to take one step at a time and to trust in the momentum of your journey. We've got number 1 again here. Remember, this is all about new beginnings, and that the energy of the magician, a tidy house, clarity and organisation. Have a clear out. You know, do something to shift the energy. Do something to just create a clean, stable space for yourself in which you can think. That's a very practical piece of guidance that's come through, so pay attention, repairing the veil, and look at how this functions here. You see this cosmic lacing system that binds everything together. You know, you have to come into forgiveness with yourself. You know, this is what's bringing you back to power and stability with the numbers 4 and 5. And again, that reduces to 9, the energy of the hermit, the power of self. And indeed, the hermit crab has come up here. We've already had Cancerian energy coming up as distorted. You know, the hermit crab is about coming out of your shell. You know, you don't have to keep hiding yourself. It's safe to come out of your shell. But first, let's get your shell tidy and organised. You know, I do think as well, coming back to that distorted Cancerian energy, because the hermit crab is here, you know, think of the crab in terms of its personality or traits. It's a creature with a very hard shell, you know, snippy, defensive pincers, but it has got that soft, gooey interior, but it peels really hard on the edges and it attacks you. You know, crabs aren't very discerning about who they nip. They just nip. That's their nature. And so when that energy is ill-dignified or distorted, it's harsh. And perhaps this is what's made you hide. Perhaps this is what's put you into that hermit mode. It's time to come out of this shell and forgive self, the others, and to trust that it's going to be okay. We've got Earth Guide, celebration, intuition, and observation. Remember, with that Page of Pentacles, at the moment you're moving through a stage of discovery, and that's where your focus needs to be. It's about learning to trust your own intuition again, so that you can find the answers you need. And the Earth Guide is your sacred calling on this planet. It's to simply love and be loved. To simply love and be loved. That is your sacred calling. That's your true path. It is simple, and you can have that, to love and be loved. It reminds me of that Nat King Cole song. Yeah, the greatest thing you'll ever learn is just to love and be loved in return. Celebration. Celebrate your achievements. You truly are a gift. I feel like that's particularly important for you, Pile 3, because you probably feel like your self-esteem is on its arse, and you've probably never felt worse about yourself. The universe loves and appreciates you. You are loved and you are appreciated and you have value and you are worthy and deserving of a good life, but you need to claim it. It's yours to claim. Keep going and keep growing. Don't give up. A pentacle is a sign of protection. It's a very auspicious symbol of abundance, and the throat chakra again is connected to truth. We've got this empty battery here. You know, you have to learn how to recharge your energy and start finding ways in which you can do that. And the lava stone, again, when we're talking about the energy of resurrection and the phoenix, you know, and it's also about the energy of the past. What's left over still has tangible value. You need to trust in the outcome of this very difficult phase you've navigated. It's going to be okay. Oh, I wish I could give you a hug part for it. I know you need it. But I'm sending you so much love and so much light to everyone who's watched this part today. My brightest blessings are already on their way to you. If this resonated and you want to hear more, please do join me over the extended. Again, the details are in the description box below. Don't forget to check out my services at my website, which is at happysouls1111.com. And I want to send a big, beautiful thanks to every single one of you that's taken the time to check in or watch or click on my commercials today. It's what keeps my channel ticking over. It is so helpful and I appreciate that support so much. You guys are so generous. It also feels like the perfect energy exchange, doesn't it? You know, a 40-minute reading, I think it's actually been 45 in return for, 1 minute of your commercial viewing. It makes the greatest difference to me and hopefully I've made a difference to you. So thank you for being here and I will see you next time. Bye.